council, so it's video and audio.
Right.
Okay. Good evening. So I just wanted to say that the first item on our agenda is always welcome and announcements, and I rarely do announcements, but tonight I do have two announcements. Excuse me. So the first announcement is that while we'd like to acknowledge Dean Parsons. Dean has stepped down as president of the board of directors of the Irishtown Community Center, and on behalf of council, I would like to thank Dean for his dedication to the community. Being a volunteer is a great way to give back to the community, but taking the role as the president of a board of volunteers is an even greater level of commitment. Dean has assured us that he intends to continue to remain involved with the community center, which is great news, and we look forward to seeing him around. Thanks again for all that you've done, Dean, for the Irishtown Community Center and your community as a whole. And a second, I just wanted to give a shout out to the grads. We haven't had a meeting since graduation started, but Moncton High, Harrison Trumbull, and École Odyssée all had grads from Maple Hills this past week, or tonight, I guess, because Moncton High's is tonight. So congratulations to the grads and all the best on the next chapter of their journeys. With that, we'll call the meeting to order. CAO Downey, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do.
Okay, next item is declaration of conflicts of interest. Does anybody have any conflicts to declare? Okay, so we'll move on to the agenda. It would now take a motion to adopt tonight's agenda in its current form. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Esty. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Jean Gras. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting this evening's agenda in its current form show your consent by saying yes. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item is the adoption of the minutes for the May 20th regular meeting. Do we have a mover to adopt the May 20th minutes? Moved by Councillor Savoie. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Esty. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the minutes for the May 20th regular meeting show your consent by saying yes. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item is questions from the public. Do we have any submitted questions?
We don't.
Okay, and since there's no one here from the public, we should be able to move on. Nothing under petition, request, and or delegation, so we'll move to council member reports. We'll start with Councillor Savoie. I don't have my binder, so I don't have the right order. Councillor Savoie?
I don't have a written report to submit as of yet, but I will at some point this week. I just want to mention a few things in passing. After last council meeting, the mayor and I had the opportunity to meet with the new owners of the mini home park in Lakeville, Lakeside Estates. And we're very pleased after the meeting. It was very productive. They seem very eager and in cleaning up the areas in the park that needs attention. And they're willing to work with us on certain files. And I think that's a great step in the right direction. Also want to mention that I've had a few complaints now from residents on Weisner Road about a dump site, and I'm hoping that we can do some headway in that file. I know that CAO Downey mentioned that the MLA is going to be linked into the emails, and hopefully they'll expedite the process. That's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Martin.
Firstly, I'd like to thank all the volunteers that came up for the recent Day of Caring at the Irishtown Community Center. We had volunteers from TD Bank, Medavie Blue Cross, and Rogers. They come out and did a phenomenal job. There was paint put on the walls. A lot of the rink stuff was taken up, cleaning, gardening, everything. It was phenomenal to have these companies come out to our community and spend some time and really put the effort in to make a difference for everyone here. Other than that, have still ongoing complaints regarding roadways, potholes, dips, all that kind of stuff that's been happening. Multiple residents have been kind of saying the same thing, putting the requests in, but not getting very far. So again, I'd like to remind residents that if you would like to CC council on those as well, we'd be more than happy to advocate.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Jean Gras. Oh, turned it off.
Is it on?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to piggyback on what the mayor stated earlier about graduations. And Magnetic Hill, of course, had a leaving ceremony recently. Next year will be the first time there won't be a Gingras at Magnetic Hill from the last 11 years. So I was pleased to see my youngest leave. He's off to Harrison Trimble to join his older brother. And I just want to say congratulations to all the Magnets who left on last week and will be headed to Trimble as well. That's it. Over to you, Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Esty?
I'll send my report to the CAO. The only thing I'd like to bring up, because a lot of it is similar to other comments here, is I had a resident reach out about a grant. We're getting into summer sports now. There's some Canada Games stuff coming up soon, and looking for grants. Sometimes they have to pay for travel themselves, which doesn't always come through the team. So the possibility of maybe opening up the grants, maybe having a discussion about that policy a little more, where if it's not directly tied to an organization, if they could provide receipts or some type of proof before, maybe just we could look at it a little more, because I know we're a little under on the year for that, and it would have to be maybe like special events. But I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up because it was brought up to me. Thanks.
Okay. Councillor Murray?
Yeah, piggyback, same thing. Congrats to all the grads. I know the Grand Ivory hosted Moncton High out there for some of their grad celebrations with the prom and stuff. So it's nice that we have some nice areas like that out in Maple Hills for everyone to see, not just our residents. Another thing I wanted to bring up, and we've brought up lots of times on social media and everything else, I just want to remind the public, if you see something, call the police, send a report. I had someone yesterday say, oh, should I call the police? They probably won't get here before the person's gone, or maybe they won't be able to find them. Yes, still call and send the report in. The only way that we can get more patrols and get members out in our areas is if we actually have the reports. If everything looks hunky-dory and there's never a report out in Irishtown, they're not going to send a whole lot of vehicles out this way. So send your reports and like I said, let it be known if you see anything suspicious or anything that you need to be done. So other than that, that's pretty much it. So.
Okay, thanks. So I'll shorten this up a little bit, but I do have a nicer report for you to send to you. The AGM for the Service Commission was at the start of this month. That was why we actually ended up moving our last meeting to a Wednesday, a different day. The Service Commission established a governance committee, and they have reviewed and updated the commission bylaws, committee policies, and the terms of reference. The updates were adopted, so we have a more comprehensive bylaw, committee policy, and term of reference now for the board. One of the updates included that councillors can sit on the committees, so I've shared the list of committees as well as the 5 that I sit on in the process to join, so if any of the councillors would like to join any of the committees, they should have that information in their inboxes. The audit committee met, I sit on that committee, and we have accepted the financial audit for the Service Commission for the year, so everything was good there. The Transportation Committee met earlier this month, and they're doing a comprehensive study of regional needs, so by community. We were able to give some feedback to the group that's doing the study, so we may hear more from them, but they are actively trying to find the needs for each individual community as opposed to a blanket solution for all communities. On the 14th of June, the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick, or UMNB, held its Zone 2 meeting. Shediac hosted the meeting at the Homeris Center. Thanks to Shediac for hosting, and a shout out to the Homeris Center. If you haven't been, it's definitely worth a visit. Just a recap of what I sent council as an update from the meeting. We had a presentation from Andre Daigle about the code of conduct. This presentation reinforced what we learned at our own training sessions. A review and update of code of conduct policy is needed for many municipalities, not just our own. couple of interesting points were shared at the meeting. I sent those to council as well so that we could use those to discuss when we review our own. We also discussed the restructure of UMMB's composition, excuse me, and an additional representative will be required. The seat actually falls under the village and rural community areas of the zone, our zone. Nominations are open, so if any council members would like to run for the seat, let me know. I'll be happy to nominate you. The union's also looking for new members for the health committee, specifically from the Southeast region. That group does advocacy work for recruiting medical professionals and improved ambulance service, so if any council members would like to sit on that committee, you can reach out to Dan or Amy at the union. The union has plans to meet in mid-November to discuss and gather feedback on what we would like to have them address or advocate for with the province with regard to, sorry, I lost my spot, municipal office and municipal staff harassment. It's commonplace, and the union is looking to speak to the province about putting something in place to help maybe attract more people to these types of jobs. And finally, the union will be reaching out to the municipalities asking for information on how the assessment freezes will specifically impact the municipalities. They'll look for data to advocate for why this freeze was unfair to the municipalities. A note on this that I hadn't fully considered was that the freeze is only for current homeowners. So if your neighbor sells their home and the new owner will pay the full assessment, where your neighbor is still protected by, where you'd still be protected by the spike protection and yours may take a while to catch up. So one of the things that somebody at the meeting had said was that, you know, you and your neighbor aren't paying, even though your houses are valued at the same, you're not paying the same for the same services, which is a really good point. So something for us to keep in mind, I guess. I hadn't thought of it that way. Tomorrow's a busy day. Aside from having a public safety meeting and a service commission board meeting, tomorrow is our grand opening for the Maple Hills Moncton Kia Center. The celebration starts at 11, and there will also be an altered schedule for the building for the week as we celebrate our grand opening week, and it'll culminate with our Canada Day celebration. So for anybody watching on YouTube, please join us for the grand opening and be sure to stop in for our Canada Day celebration. Our website and our Facebook page will have more information on both those events. Okay, so now we move to bylaws, motions, and resolutions, and the first item is dangerous and unsightly premise.
Yeah, so as council's aware, you guys, we've done the first and second reading tonight. If there's no additional changes to the bylaw, we would proceed with the reading in its entirety, followed by a third reading by title.
Do we have a motion to proceed with the reading in its entirety?
I move.
Moved by Councillor Savoie, seconded by Councillor Esty.
I move that we proceed with the reading in its entirety of bylaw A-09-A, bylaw of the local government of Maple Hills relating to the dangerous and unsightly premises.
Okay. Any questions on the motion? Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of proceeding with the reading of the bylaw in its entirety show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no.
That's me. Just gonna try to make the font a little bigger here. So we have bylaw A-09, dangerous or unsightly premises. A bylaw of the local government of Maple Hills relating to dangerous or unsightly premises. The Council of Maple Hills, under the authority vested in it through the Local Governance Act, Service New Brunswick 2017, Chapter 18. The Council of the Local Government of Maple Hills hereby makes and enacts this bylaw as follows. Title: This bylaw may be cited as the dangerous or unsightly premises bylaw of Maple Hills Rural Community. 2. General provisions, sections 130 to 143 of the Local Governance Act, Service New Brunswick 2017, Chapter 18, including any amendments thereto, apply to all lands, premises, and properties within the boundaries of the Local Government of Maple Hills. 3. Effective date. This bylaw comes into force on the date of final passing thereof. Number 4, related tools and documents. This bylaw must be read and enforced in conjunction with, but not limited to, the following documents: the Local Governance Acts, its amendments and regulations, the National Building Code of Canada, the minimum requirements of the New Brunswick Office of the Fire Marshal.
Okay.
So now the next motion is to proceed with the third reading by title.
So do I have a mover to proceed with the third reading by title? Moved by Counselor Martin. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Counselor Murray. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of excuse me, proceeding with the third reading by title of the bylaw, show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
So this is, the title is bylaw A09, dangerous or unsightly premises. A bylaw of the local government of Maple Hills relating to dangerous or unsightly premises. And just one more motion.
Well, I didn't do that right. I was supposed to have him read the motion.
Oh,
We're out of practice a little, I think. Okay. So the next motion is for adoption of the reading of the bylaw in its entirety and the third reading by title. Do I have a mover on that? Okay, so I'll let you read it this time. Yeah.
I move that we adopt the reading in its entirety and the third reading by title of bylaw A-09-A, a bylaw of the local government of Maple Hills relating to dangerous or unsightly premises.
Do I have a seconder on this motion? Seconded by Councillor Martin. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the reading in its entirety and the third reading by title, show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, so the next item is our branding strategy proposal. Would you like to, is there anything you'd like to say before we?
no, I don't have anything to add, other than, Mr. Lackey had reached out today, just asking if there were any updates, and I said council still hasn't, passed the motion to proceed. We discussed this at the last committee of the whole meeting, and, I've provided a sample motion if council is so inclined.
So he sent us a little more information based on the request that was made. Does anybody have any further questions on this topic? Okay, so do I have a mover for this motion? Okay. Oh, I'll give you your mic. There you go.
Oh. I have to read the whole thing? Thanks. Whereas Maple Hills recognizes the importance of developing a comprehensive and cohesive branding strategy to enhance community identity and improve communication with residents, businesses, and visitors, and whereas Lackey Advertising submitted a proposal that meets the local government's objectives and budgetary considerations, and whereas Lackey Advertising has demonstrated expertise in branding strategy development, community engagement, and marketing, making them a suitable partner for this initiative, be it resolved that the Council of Maple Hills hereby accepts the proposal from Lackey Advertising for the development of a branding strategy as outlined in their submission dated June 2025. And be it further resolved that the Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, be authorized to enter into an agreement with Lackey Advertising for the provision of branding services, subject to the terms and conditions outlined in the proposal at a cost not to exceed $25,035 plus HST. And be it further resolved that funding for this initiative be provided through the Local Governance Reform Implementation Funds.
Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Esty. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of proceeding with Lackey Advertising's branding strategy proposal, show your consent by saying yes.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay. So I see a note there, guys, that the next meeting we'll talk about the transfer for the local governance funds to, okay. So the next item is the municipal spaces signage policy. CAO Downey did make one more update later this afternoon, I think.
Yes, yep.
To add the support and opposition item that we had requested on the signage. Does anybody have any other questions about that Oh, still on. There we go. Okay, so do I have a mover on this policy? Counselor Martin?
Be it resolved that council adopts policy P08, municipal spaces signage policy, as presented.
Do I have a seconder on this motion? Seconded by Counselor Savoy. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor of adopting the municipal spaces signage policy, show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. So the next item is unfinished business, which I don't think we have.
I just made a note of a couple of things, just
Okay,
because
sure.
we're not meeting in July. So the strategic plan design is completed and will be sent to council later this week. I believe I've received it this afternoon. And we will adopt the strategic plan at the August meeting. So essentially, it'll be circulated to you guys, but not externally until it's adopted. They're still working on the tender for the parking lot. We have to still work on the streetlight request for Ward 3. And Trail Bridge project is still underway. And there's been a community survey that Englobe has sent to me for a 5-year assessment, or the 5-year asset management plan. I'll circulate that community survey to you guys just to kind of give the okay. That'll have to be done via email because we don't have any meetings, so I'll circulate that. That's all I had to kind of give you updates on.
Okay. So the last item on the agenda is closed session, so it would now take a motion to, oh, sorry, did you have a question on?
I just want to say something with the I just really want to say a big thank you to Councilor Mark Esty, because he has put considerable amount of work into our strategic plan. And we wouldn't be where we are today with it if it wasn't for the work he put in. So thank you, Councilor Esty.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So it would now take a motion to move to closed session. Do I have a mover?
I'll move.
Moved by Counselor Savoy. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Counselor Murray. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor of moving to, excuse me, all those in favor of moving to closed session, show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Good?
It was a 23-minute meeting. Bravo.